Hello, Boy Golden. How are you?
I'm good, Don. How are you?
Fantastic. Really pumped to be chatting with you. Um, so you were just at the Calgary Folk Music Festival. What was that like? What were some of your takeaways from that experience?
I thought it went really well. I thought it was great. Like we played a bunch. We tend to get worked pretty hard at festivals. We've got a
Yes.
big band and they're all very capable musicians in the band. That's kind of one of my favorite parts about them. So
Hmm.
we end up doing a lot of workshops, but I love doing workshops. So even though it makes the schedule pretty hectic, like I just think you just sometimes get total magic on workshops. Like
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
is not at Calgary, but last year at Winnipeg Folk, me and Fontaine, who also plays in the band, did a workshop with Allison Russell, and she had
Mm.
the Sister Strings
Hmm.
quartet with her, and we were playing one of Fontaine's songs, and they just came up with this string arrangement for it on the spot. I was weeping.
Yeah.
It was 11 in the morning and we were running late, and I'm kind of weeping again just thinking about it because it was so beautiful. And so
Oh,
I'm just always
wow.
looking for that magic in my day-to-day life, and I think workshops are a cool way to get it, and so they don't scare me.
Hmm.
I like them. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I
Mhm.
think I love that workshops are very very Canadian. It's a very Canadian thing at festivals. And I remember playing some festivals in the States and I was like, huh? Like, you don't do
Yeah,
this?
you guys don't like to
Oh,
jam? What's wrong with you?
yeah. Yeah. And then when I realized, I'm like, oh, this is kind of a Canadian tradition. It's like, yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like some of the most transformative and like transcendent experiences as a performer and as an audience member have been from watching workshops. That's so cool.
Mhm.
That's so
Agreed.
cool. Where are you headed next this summer? Do you have any more festivals?
I have a whole bunch more. Yeah. Let's see if I can list them off here. Playing at Jazz Etc. Festival on the weekend, and then Kelowna for this festival called Nest Fest, and then Burnaby Roots the weekend after that, and then Victoria Roots,
Ooh,
and then Hamilton Supercrawl, and then Harvest Moon in back in Manitoba, and then we're down to Americana Fest in Nashville.
wow, wow, wow. You're playing some really stellar festivals. Those are all
Yeah,
great.
feeling very, very lucky.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Burnaby Roots and Blues is super fun. And this year, that festival is all free. Like they've decided to make it free to the public.
I
And
know.
I think that's such
So cool.
a great idea. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
very
I
cool.
appreciate that about Calgary too. They had the
Hmm.
stage like a free stage, and it's like folk music is supposed to be the music of the people, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And it just,
yeah.
I mean, the reality of the world is that things cost a lot of money, so I understand that, but it's just tough seeing everything getting more and more expensive, even just for people to come and enjoy music and have that like healing
Hmm.
experience. So,
Yeah, yeah, it's cool to be able to remove some of the barriers.
mhm.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, Boy Golden, the reason I wanted to chat with you today and the reason that I was pestering you so much was because I wanted to tell you and share the fantastic news that your album For Jimmy is the number one album on CKUA's Top 30
Oh,
chart.
no way. I literally
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Nice. Thanks.
yeah, yeah.
Cool.
I'm like, I think that's kind of something fun to share, you know,
Definitely.
uh, kind of in person. Yeah. So
Yeah.
congratulations. It's a
Wow, how
beautiful
does that
album.
happen?
It happens because people like your music
Oh,
and
that's cool.
listeners love your music and hosts and announcers and producers love your music. And then poof,
Cool. Oof, there you go.
poof, it just
Amazing. Well,
happens.
I've been a big fan of CKUA since I started touring at like 17, and we would roll through Alberta and we would always listen. And even when we were just, this was my high school band and we were just such a baby band, but like
Mm.
we would send CKUA the shows we'd play, and they would often tell people about it on the air, and we'd get a few more people out to the show, and I just thought that was incredible. So,
Yeah. Yeah. We are for the people, of the people and for
mhm.
the people, definitely. I feel like, yeah, that's a very comforting thing. Like as a touring musician, it was like getting to Alberta, I was like, ah, CKUA. We can like listen to the music and they will support us as like a little beacon of light while you're on
Mhm.
the vast lands of Canada. So you are a student of people like Towns Van Zandt and Willie Nelson, and there's a couple of other really cool examples on your website. Uh, how did you kind of fall in love with those people and their music?
A lot of my main influence in life has really come from my friends and older musicians that I have met and looked up to, and they turned me on to these records that just changed my life, and that's like
Mm,
happened so many times.
hmm
And
hmm
I also just feel like I would never have been doing this if it weren't for my friends in that band I mentioned earlier, Roman and Dylan. They were both great musicians from a very young age and like very driven and inspired people. And I never thought that I could write songs or anything like that, but they just encouraged me through their dedication to it. So
Mm.
I feel like that's what I owe it mostly to. And then with the Boy Golden project, I feel like I don't think about genre. When wrote that first album, it just felt like I was writing just music that I wanted to hear, and a lot of that came out sounding like early influences like Cale and stuff.
hmm hmm
And yeah, so I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool
The
too.
long-winded response there, but
No, 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 it's great. Okay, so I would really love to play a track from your album, and I'm wondering, can you pick the track and tell our listeners a little bit about it?
sure.
And take your time, if you need to just think about it.
Why don't we play? Why don't we play Blue Hills?
Okay.
Yeah, I like that song. I grew up in Brandon, Manitoba, and the only hills around there are the Blue Hills of Brandon. And
Oh.
for many years, I thought that my great aunt had written a song called Blue Hills of Brandon, but I recently found out that was not true. But either way, it when I thought that was the case, I was like, oh, I want to write my own Blue Hills song. I left Brandon and I didn't always feel that great about necessarily being from there, or like some of the habits or ideas or perceptions that I picked up growing up there. It was a good place to grow up, but it still kind of like a small city, small
Yeah.
town in Manitoba. And so yeah, you end up with just certain ideas about the world that I very quickly upon entering the real world found that they weren't right. So
hmm
the
hmm
important lyric in that song for me is where you get born and always where you're coming from matters more what you intend to become, because I think that every person is born with essentially unlimited potential. Not that everybody uses it,
Yeah, for sure.
but people are born with that. And when I meet people in my travels that I don't agree with pretty much anything they have to say or anything like that, it's just like it can be so hard to convince myself to find common ground and try and make a connection. But if I leave myself out of it, then I find that I can make that connection, and that sometimes we actually have a really amazing conversation. And sometimes you can even change someone's mind about something.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes.
sometimes. But yeah, it's powerful and courageous to try, be
Mhm.
vulnerable, open, and just connect.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of what the song's about to me. But at the same time, it's also just about it's about lots of like memories of that
hmm
place, and uh, maybe my first love in the place too.
Beautiful. Those are all delightful and
Mhm.
beautiful. All right. From the number one album on CKUA's Top 30 chart, For Jimmy by Boy Golden, this is Blue Hills.